Tuesday, December 20th of the year 2022. My name is Sean Phillips. As always, I am joined alongside my two co-hosts, Mr. Andy Van Beber and Travis Kirkendall. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this lovely Tuesday evening? For me, it is a brisk, ice cold 45 degrees outside. So I don't know what you guys are dealing with up there in the
Oh my
Midwest, but
gosh, you big pansy.
yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm dealing with up here.
yeah, you are. Listen to you. Man, 45 degrees. Good God, let me tell you. I can actually tell you, according to the old Apple Watch, currently is 25. We'll get down to 22 tonight. And I believe our high for tomorrow is 31, which will probably hit mid morning and then it'll start dropping like a rock. So, and we'll
Yeah, I've
have,
been told it's supposed to be pretty cold for you guys this weekend. Some
hey,
snow potentially on Thursday, or
white Christmas for the first time in 5 years.
It's gonna be rough.
Yeah, Travis is going to get it. Travis is going to get it worse than I am. So, he lives up there in Flatlander, USA. So,
Hey, we got hills where I live. That's the
oh,
beauty of this part of Illinois. We got some hills,
a few hills, but no.
but yeah, it's gonna be really, really bad.
But
Well, I say that they always over exaggerate the predictions
well,
a little bit.
6 degrees is the high for Friday. Six
Yeah, it's gonna be cold.
6 with a wind chill, potential wind chills of 20 below. So,
Yeah, we got
I'm
negatives here.
jealous. That
yeah,
sounds nice and relaxing.
yeah. I mean, I'll
Yeah,
go out. I'll go out and take a jog, and come back with, nipples hard enough to cut glass with, so it'll be all right. But
there you
That's
go.
what pays the bills. That's what pays
absolutely,
the
hey, you
bills.
know what? I may look into your fans only thing after that, Sean. I don't know, but
It's only-
oh my goodness.
Now we're cooking.
Hey, it's good to see you back, pal. Why don't you fill us in on some of your
yeah, fill us
activities?
in.
What's been going on in the world of Sean Phillips the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so things have been good, kind of crazy out here. So what I've kind of learned is the first couple of weeks of December, actually pretty much in November too, and as we kind of roll into the holiday season, it's a pretty busy time for a lot of film studios trying to catch up on scheduling and programming. So a lot of long days, a lot of long nights, but I mean, you stay busy. Um, it's been really cool. I've actually had the experience to be on a couple of pretty cool sets now and do a couple of cool different kind of things that I never would have imagined. I've gotten to see some really cool people. Some actors actually like get to do their shit, and it was really cool. I know some people know I've done Winning Time a couple of times now, which is an HBO Max show
That's the
through
Lakers thing,
Warner
right?
Brothers about the Lakers dynasty. Um, and I actually got to see John C. Riley. For those that don't know who John C. Riley is, he's
Nice,
the other he's the other brother that's not Will Ferrell in Step Brothers.
nice.
Um, and I got to him do some stuff because he in the show is the owner of the Lakers, and so that was really cool. I got to do another show. I don't know what I'm allowed to speak about that went down on the show, um, but it was funny in a sense where I got to see Ted Danson act as Abraham Lincoln for 24 hours straight. So that was actually
Awesome,
a really cool experience and
awesome,
really funny, um, super cool. There's some other like pretty big name actors and actresses uh, that I got to see. One that did some hard time not too long ago. Lori Laughlin was there.
oh,
She was one of the I think she's from Full House back in the day.
right.
It
And
was
she was
kind of
the
her
whole
real big thing.
the college thing, right?
Yeah. One of those kind of
Yeah.
I think they just kind of tried to make a teach a lesson using her because she did what probably every rich person in America does.
Buy your kids way
Um,
into Harvard, yeah.
buy your kid way into the university that they want to go to. So no, it's been crazy busy. Same with wrestling. We've got a bunch of different things coming up. We have a huge show in Phoenix, Arizona, coming up, starting in February, right around my birthday. We start filming our Louisville television show. So there's just a lot of moving parts. It's kept me extremely busy. But again, you won't find me complaining. The family's doing good, staying busy, trying to kind of get Christmas and everything kind of wrapped up now that, I'm kind of home this week.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's still a lot going on this week, kind of the first couple of days where I've actually had some slowdown time. I don't have any more college classes to take until like January 7th. So this is like the first break from school I've had in a long time. And it is a huge sigh of relief. I passed both my finals with flying colors, which didn't expect. So thank you, Chegg. Thank you, Quizlet, for that.
Yeah.
Big shout out to both of them.
Quizlet, baby. You can never go wrong with Quizlet.
Yeah. Can't ever go wrong with Quizlet.
No,
but no, it's as I kind of roll into 2023, there's a couple of cool things that are in the works. One that I can kind of briefly talk about because it affects both Travis and I, hopefully in a really positive light. But yeah, other than that, it's just kind of been same old with a sprinkle of super busy on top. So, but that's just the nature of the beast out here. Is you sink or swim. So right now we are swimming pretty hard. So, but I enjoy it. How about you guys? What's now that V, are you done?
Today was it.
Okay.
Today was it. School is. I tell you what, this has been one of the. I've said this all along since COVID, and school. My job is a lot harder than what it was 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, today was the last day. Briley finished up her first junior high basketball season tonight. Congratulations to Coach Lauren Loggeman, who has been a guest on our show before, on another successful season. She did a great job. We and so now I get to breathe. Now. I'm kind of like you, Sean. I get to breathe now for a little bit. This. I tell you what, being a basketball dad, not a basketball coach. 3 nights a week for probably. This was the first, only one game. Of course, we only had one game this week, but this is the first 3-game week that we've had in over a month, and just travel, basketball. But so now life slows down for a little bit, and my daughter turns the Big 12 tomorrow, so we're gonna hit the old Fuji Grill tomorrow and do the Van Beber family tradition of going up there and getting our faces melted, and we'll have a good time with that. And
getting hella drunk.
Yeah,
you said 12, not 21. My bad.
Right.
My bad, Brent.
that number dyslexia is still haunting you. I see that, and
yeah, I wasn't very good at math.
No, but no, we've had this has been a a great year as far as family is concerned. Getting settled into the first full year of Missouri life and everything, and it's been fairly good year. So, but I'm not like Travis who finds 9mm hollow point rounds on top of schools and stuff like that. But
well, no, you just spent 2 weeks ago robbing the Dairy Queen at gunpoint.
Yes, Louisiana did. No sus. I tell you what, we're quickly becoming the crime capital of Pike County.
Woo!
Between the chief who has yet to be, I don't know what the progress is. They've already heard motions of that he wants to move the trial out of Pike County, so we'll see how that goes. And then, that's a rumor I heard. That isn't official, but that's a rumor I've heard. I don't know if our good buddy Alex Ellison is on tonight or not, but. That, and then our Dairy Queen was robbed at gunpoint 2 weeks ago, and so now I have not. I think I probably shouldn't advertise this too much, but I mean, I've grown up in small town America where you don't lock your doors. Now my wife's like, "Is the door locked? Is the door locked? Is the door locked?" You know, do you got the cameras going? Do you got? And I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. So, you know,
It's unfortunate.
it is unfortunate because, you know, as you know, I don't know. It's hitting us in the small town though. So, but Travis, what's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. Like I was telling you, trying to make it home this weekend, but it really depends on the weather. I think we're gonna kind of wait it out and maybe try to drive out Saturday morning. But again, it's gonna be real windy and snow's gonna be blowing everywhere across 55, so we're gonna kind of play it by ear. But everything's been good. Been busy with work and kind of wind down, ready for the start of the next year.
Yeah,
Nothing real special going on.
tower climbing
My
life.
dog, yeah, right. It was kind of funny. We took our dog to we've been working with these trainers, and he's kind of on like a break period right now.
Hmm.
And they started doing like these dog camps for like take all the dogs and stuff. They have like a huge yard, and they just get to play around all day, and it was so cute. We were getting videos sent to us, and he was just having so much fun. Just put a big smile on my face, and he came home and just completely passed out.
Officer Michael Vincent has just checked in and said he's wishing us a Merry Christmas. Thank you, Officer Vincent. Yeah, we've so a lot of interesting things. We're not really going to deep dive into, just kind of touch on some light topics tonight. Well, I want to lead off, and to me, it's probably the most comical thing we'll cover tonight. But Trump trading cards, you know, $99 NFT Trump trading cards. Get yours while they're hot. This is the last move of a desperate. If you haven't seen these cards yet, I don't know if I can get a window up while you guys are talking about this, but some of these are hilarious. They are, I mean, it's like now you're paying $99 for a meme that you can only hope to correct. What did you guys think when you saw these?
I gotta see the pictures of these things. I'm Googling it right now.
They're very comical.
Here's my take. I'll give credit where credit's due because I think it's dumb. There's certain things in the digital space as far as like when investments and stuff go that I believe in. NFTs are tricky because it's digital art, and art is a subjective.
Yeah.
Art is subjective on how much someone would pay for it. So you had all these celebrities that are endorsing these things, you know, charging or buying things like these Bored Ape tokens for millions of dollars that are now worth virtually nothing. But you know, the funny thing is I remember when he announced that he was going to be releasing these things, my Twitter feed was just a flood of like, what a flop. He's like, this is so stupid. How dumb do you have to be? Like, this is, you know, he's a moron. And then they were launched and then they sold out. And I was like, you know what? Credit where credit's due.
Holy cow.
If you're going to take advantage of stupid, hey, at least you make money off stupid. And I think he said, I think I just looked up a number and he, you know, probably profited around $4 million doing it. Now they're selling. So they sold for $100. Now there's people are buying them for like $600, stuff like that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised it's sold out. The man's got such a big cult following. I mean,
so why don't you guys explain what NFTs are for those who don't? I mean, non-fungible?
Non-fungible token. So essentially, to kind of Barney it, it's quite literally a digital asset in the space that whatever you buy is backed by essentially what is called a digital footprint, right? Or its own thumbprint, whether it's a code, whether it's a number, whatever it might be. So again, it started out as artwork, and now, you know, there's people that are doing like tokens and trading cards and stuff like that, where again, it's kind of silly because think of the Mona Lisa, right? Everybody, you know, you could Google a picture of the Mona Lisa. It's the same thing with a lot of these NFTs. Anybody could just Google a picture of, you know, the Bored Ape number 124, and you can find it, you could screenshot it, you could put it as your background saver, right? That's where, again, it's kind of weird, is someone technically owns the like, think of like when you see a photo and you would see like a watermark on something, like people are like, that's my watermark, I own this art. It's essentially, that's kind of what the NFT is, except, the watermark is not seen. Now what I don't know, and I have to get more info on, is my understanding. Well, I have no idea if, like, let's say in a movie, Space Jam 3, they put, some of these Bored Apes like up on a billboard in the movie. Well, if it's like a specific one, do they have to pay licensing fees to whoever owns it? That I don't know. I don't have a clue. But essentially, all it really is a it's a piece of art, but it's digital. Now they have some that I know, not all, but some people are sent like physical backing. So I think there's someone made some kind of NFT, some artist, and essentially if you buy the NFT, you get sent like some kind of coin or something that has like a QR code that literally is the owner of this is the owner of this kind of thing. But again, that's specific for that, whoever that creator was. Again, like I was saying, like with celebrities and stuff, a lot of them have bought, Bored Ape is the real popular one. But again, people will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on them, but it's subjective. Like when Logan Paul bought, his mint edition Charizard card for millions of dollars, he's like, this Pokemon card is worth $7 million. It was worth $7 million to you because you spent that much money on it. But if no one else is willing to spend that much money on it, is it worth that? So that's the kind of thing with these NFTs, is it's just digital artwork.
I'm going ahead and right now, so those of you who are watching us live, you can look and see. You have Cowboy Donald Trump with his length duster on. You've got Spaceman Trump in a NASA outfit. You've got Trump with bars of gold falling. You've got golfing Trump. You have, looks like Air Force Trump in an Air Force, Top Gun. You've got Donald Trump in a suit and a hat and with a football standing on the 45-yard line. You've got Donald Trump in a NASCAR suit, which that alone, And then you've got Donald Trump standing in a ring, looks like a boxing ring. I don't know if it's a wrestling ring or a boxing ring, but he's holding it, looks like a championship belt with 45 on it. And dear God in heaven, to me, you're really so he starts building this up. Well, I guess it was on Monday. There's going to be, we're going to have a huge announcement come out we're going to do this huge announcement on Thursday where this is going to be great. And, and when I first heard of this announcement, my thoughts immediately go to, okay, he's going to, it's going to have to do something with the election. It's going to do something with his campaign. And then this video comes out and it's like an infomercial from, if you haven't watched the video, I don't know where you can watch the video at, but if you watch the video, it's like one of those bad infomercials that you see on at like 3:00 in the morning on, A&E or something like that. And it's, 99, I mean, he's selling you $99. These cars are going to go fast and they make not too late to make a great Christmas gift and all. And to me, you said, Sean, right off the top, so $4 million just in 72 hours, and that's just from his licensing of it. And just for the record, and Travis and I were talking about this before we came on, the company who is, and you said this too, Sean, the company that's doing this this company is not run by Donald Trump, who's doing this who's doing this organization. I forgot what I said the name of it was called, but it's basically, it was
I forget what it was. I remember you said it though.
it was basically, but the company was developed in Delaware, and so the address that they have when you go to look at it is to a UPS store in Park City, Utah. Okay. And then the digital licensing, like you were mentioning, Sean, the digital licensing is from a company called CIC Digital License, which their business address is Mar-a-Lago. So, and it's founded by Nick Luna, who is a former assistant to Donald Trump, and one of Trump's former lawyers, John Marion, as the directors of this thing. So, to me, it's narcissistic to say the least. When you and what's really bad about it is that you have a lot of Trump's supporters who are coming out and saying, this is crazy. I mean, what are you're shaking, you're about ready to have a civil war occur in the Republican Party, and you're marching yourself out there to make you're turning yourself into a human meme, and these images like the Superman Trump. If you see the pictures of the Superman Trump, the 6-pack abs, these amazing pecs, and these, huge python arms, and you're just like, I mean, I would love to look that way too, but reality is that I have man boobs, and I weigh 340 pounds, and I accept reality, and I'm not going to go out and.
Hey, with an NFT, you can be anybody. All right. In the digital space, in the digital world.
Jeez, it makes you look like a jackass. It makes you look like a jackass. To me, it's just, you're selling your image. I don't know.
Well, not even that. It was you and I talked about this before the show too. The thing that I think makes him look like a jackass, the man's completely contradicted himself. He's been quoted numerous times as saying, "I don't believe in cryptocurrency. You know what I believe in? I believe in the U.S. dollar. That's the currency I believe in. I don't." He's said it numerous times. He's against cryptocurrency. And then what's the man do? He partners with a company and launches an NFT. Come on, man.
Oh,
that's my only issue with it. You say one thing and do the other.
Well, I think that this is. We're not going to see the end of this anytime soon. It's going to be. I don't know.
But what's going to be interesting? You think other politicians are going to do that?
I think that's a career. That's, to me, that's just you've made yourself into a laughingstock, though. You've made yourself into a laughingstock when one of your biggest supporters, I can't think of I always forget this guy's name on what is his name? I have to look it up on my Snapchat. I follow Ben Shapiro. When Ben Shapiro, who is one of your big guys, makes fun of you on his podcast yesterday. And I mean, when Ben Shapiro slams you, and he was Trump's, he just like, this is, he said, I'd love to see Trump get nominated again. But he said, this is a step backwards for Donald Trump. And so, I mean, obviously other Republicans are just kind of shaking their head, and but that there's probably somebody out there somewhere who invested mass amounts of money. I mean, I bet you there's somebody who probably bought every one of those cards. And I mean,
I bet there's someone that broke into a Dairy Queen, robbed a man at gunpoint, and took that cash and flipped it to Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Right.
Oh, hey, I was also good. Speaking of, so kind of changing gears, but I know Sean will get his satisfaction from this. I just read tonight on ESPN that this guy who's considered to be the chief superfan, this guy goes to pretty much every, and he wears a full-on like a wolf suit. It's not KC Wolf, but it's this other guy, And on his way, and this guy goes to all the home games and all the away games. And on his way to the game in Houston last week, he stopped over in Tulsa and robbed a bank on the way to Tulsa, Oklahoma. On the way to Houston, he was going to the Texans game, and he robbed a bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I was like, yeah. I'm surprised you didn't say anything or text me anything about it, Sean, because I was just like, oh, I'm not going to hear the end of this.
I'm actually pretty sure that, like, on my Facebook, I've muted everything related to that organization, so I usually don't really even see it, but that makes sense. I'm surprised there's not more stories that we hear about it, that kind of thing, because I think that's just a typical Tuesday for most Kansas City Chiefs supporters. So hearing that one robbed a bank, I'm surprised the team didn't put him on staff, as like chief of finance or something, genuinely surprised he's not employed as we speak. He probably is. He probably is employed as we speak.
Well, I saw that and I was like, man, I'm going to hear about that from Sean about. Oh,
now I'm going to have to. Well, speaking of, as we kind of segue into that, do either of you guys have YouTube TV at all?
No. Do you have it?
Well, I was just kind of going through some things, and it looks like YouTube TV is going to be the front runner for the exclusive NFL package. So like DirecTV right now, Sunday Ticket was it, yeah. but the licensing is up at the end of the year, and as after the 2022-23 season, and it looks like as of now, YouTube TV is going to be where you have to go if you want to pay for all the games. Then YouTube TV is going to be the option for you.
Interesting. That'll be. I tell you what, I haven't. What is I don't even know how much the NFL Sunday Ticket is anymore. Do you have is that still like $200, something like that, or?
It used to be.
I haven't had
something along those lines, like between $200 to $300, and so I don't know what it will be. You got some visitors coming your way, B.
Thank you. My son brings me my caramel frappe.
We've got nice. Hey, what's up, man? No, we there's. I don't know. I know that so NFL Plus, which is kind of a joke, was $15 for the season, which was a great deal. It gives you essentially all the local games in your market, and then all the primetime games you can just stream them on your phone. Mm-hmm. The problem is the app doesn't work half the time, which is a huge shame. And they've I see people talk about how they're like, I just VPN this. No, I have tried so freaking hard to ping my VPN to an area to where I'll be like in a certain spot with regional games. But if you do that, at least for my app, it just shuts your app down and it doesn't work at all. So, which is a shame because, it's the team that I watch, thankfully, has quite a few primetime games. However, when they just play locally, it's typically not in my area, and I'm forced to watch the Rams play or
I'm sorry,
someone else unimportant. So,
it's a scam. What the hell?
Well, that's what I was going to ask if that's what I'm wondering about how that'll work. But I haven't had DirecTV. I've went pretty much streaming. I think I've been streaming now. This is going on my 4th year of just doing streaming straight over my Fire Stick, and I have saved. I think I'm 20. It's 20 some odd bucks a month.
What streaming services do you guys pay for currently? Travis, what about you?
We have Netflix, Disney Plus, Well, she has that with her family. I tag along on their accounts.
Nice.
But yeah, Netflix,
Son of a
Disney
bitch.
Plus. I think just those two.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we do Hulu, Disney Plus, and of course with Hulu we got that whatever that jumbo package. So that's Hulu, ESPN Plus, what else comes? Disney
And
Plus,
Disney Plus. Yeah.
and then we have HBO Max and Netflix. And I think Janine's toying around with something with YouTube now. I got the bill for that today, and it was like $9 for that. So I don't know if that's YouTube TV or what that is exactly. But I mean, between and we have some stream. I have another streaming service that I do, and it's between those. I don't watch much TV anymore anyway. I watch more sports. Like I'll watch football on Sunday and whatever you catch off the bunny ears or the digital antenna, whatever we have up on top of the house, and they usually carry Chiefs football. Sorry, but yeah, but I will say this though, Sean. We do get our fair share of. They're here lately. Of course, the Bears are terrible, but they've been going more with. I've seen more Green Bay games this year on local networks than I have Chicago stuff. So, but
Good.
I think that I've always said this. I think that DirecTV and Dish Network are going to put themselves out of business. I've said this. I've said this all along because streaming is it's convenient. You do it on your terms. You still have these services like Sling with Sling, and Sling's kind of I think has had its run, but they still have. I mean, you can pay. I still think Sling has like $25 packages, and you can pick out. I want a sports package, or I want I want more like like your movie channel package, or I want more of your network TV packages, and so people like that instead of having to say I'm going to pay $200 for. I mean, I got out of DirecTV when my bill had gone up to like $175 a month, and that wasn't that there was no HBO, Cinemax, or anything in that Showtime. Yeah, that was straight, your top whatever it was, 175, and your locals and your sports. And to me, that was just I didn't watch enough TV to justify $175 a month.
That's a lot of money.
So I mean, and to me, there's not. And think about that when you want to watch good, and like heck, a lot of the shows that I watch is stuff that you guys have recommended to me, or movies that you guys said, hey, check out this movie on YouTube, or if I had $1 for every time Sean's recommended it, hey, I know this funny show or this guy, and go check this guy out, and whatever it was. Heck, Sean introduced me to Joe Coy. I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. He said you got to check out this guy Joe Coy, and I think I've streamed just about every piece of Joe Coy I can off of YouTube. Between Netflix and YouTube, I've watched every piece of Joe Coy that I can, and and Sean and I have a lot of the same in comedy taste and stuff like that. And Sean will say, hey, check this guy out or check that guy out. And so, and I mean, the future of entertainment too. I mean, you think about what we do on a small scale here. You got you think of Joe, guys like Joe Rogan, Pat McAfee. I mean, you get all those shows free. You go to Spotify and you can watch that stuff for free. And I mean, anymore, I mean, you find a guy that you want to watch, you can watch him. I love watching Pat. That's another guy that you turned me on to, Sean, was Pat McAfee. I love watching Pat McAfee. But I mean, what do you guys? Who do you guys stream for? I mean, what's your biggest go to for entertainment, Travis? What do you go to as far as what's your go to guy for? If I want to, you want to kick back in the easy chair and you want to watch something or listen to something, what's your go to?
Uh, Shows. I really don't watch a lot of TV. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'll
don't
watch a
either.
couple UFC events here and there, but like, I really don't watch a lot. I mean, there's a couple shows, but I mean, they're not. still waiting on new seasons to come out. As far as listening, we're going to talk about like podcast streaming or something. I mean, I'll listen to some Rogan. Um, I love Lex Friedman. I think he has some really good conversations. This is all on Spotify. Um, I listen to a couple podcasts on Spotify, really. That's the most of my streaming, really.
Sean, what's your go-to?
Well, when it comes to time, I'm so on the go that like shows, if I watch a show, I usually like watch it on my phone, like at the gym or something like that. Like that's kind of how I catch up on a lot of stuff. Or when I was recruiting, when I was driving in the car, I'd put my show on my phone on the dashboard, and I would drive throughout the back roads of Missouri and watch my shows that way. But we typically have like a lot of laundry kind of shows on, like in the background of like, just kind of white noise shows.
Mm-hmm.
Trailer Park Boys, The Office, Bob's Burgers,
Hell
that
yeah.
kind of, just like it's, every word to every episode at this point. So it's just kind of,
Yep. That's
a
what.
white noise kind of thing. Although I will come back to one thing here in a second. You guys will be really proud of Tony here in a minute. But as far as like streaming, like in the car, I listen to a ton of a podcast called Last Podcast on the Left, which is a comedy podcast where essentially they cover true crime, they cover anything. They just did a really good episode about the Pennsylvania Bigfoot, where they just like talk about all kinds of whatever. Like they talk about UFO abductions, they talk about government conspiracies. They talk about it all, and
nice.
Essentially, why I love the show so much, and why Tony's a big fan too, is they're all three comedians, and so they'll take something that's terrible and they'll add humor to it, and my kind of humor. But the good thing is, like, they're so well researched. Like, I have yet to find another show that actually does the amount of research that they do, and then is able to make it as funny as they do. They did a really good, I think it's like a 4 or 5 parter on Jeffrey Dahmer. And it's one of the funniest things you'll ever listen to in your life, even though it's the most well-researched podcast I've ever heard on the topic. It's very, very, very funny. But no, Tony recently just started. I am so proud of her. She just finished the extended edition of the Two Towers. So she finished the Fellowship of the Ring. She has finished the Two Towers, and now we just have about 4.5 hours of Return of the King to watch. So very proud.
I love all 3 films. Dude, the first one, extended edition, I think the first film is the best one in extended edition.
It's they're all so good, and I was actually, because I've been out, and so when I came back, she was finishing up the Two Towers, and it was funny. I recorded her for a little bit, but I missed whenever it was the very end of the movie when Samwise was talking to Frodo about why they're doing it, because there's good in the world, Mr. Frodo, and she was bawling like a baby, and so I couldn't get that.
Oh, I wish you would have. I wish you would have got that. That would have been classic. That would have been classic.
Yeah, no, I was I was proud of her. So I eventually, there's a couple other ones, like I'll need to get her back onto Game of Thrones. And we watched a little bit. We haven't finished it, and I want to go back and watch it because it is a very, very good show. Mad Men. We started the first couple episodes of Mad Men. Oh, that's a good show. And John Hamm, he's a St. Louis guy, so
yeah, John Hamm is a great actor. Yeah,
gotta rep 3-1.
We did. So a lot of people at my church have talked about this, and this is totally fan-funded. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. It's called The Chosen, and it's through Angel Studios.
There's an app.
Yeah.
There's an app that you can get on your phone. Yes, I watched the first episode.
Yep, I did too. This last
holy
week.
Cow!
And they're using they actually use Middle Eastern. A lot of their actors are actually Middle Eastern actors who are olive-colored skin people who are playing these, Aramaic roles, and and it's from what I watched the pilot and the first episode, and I was, I've growing up in the church, I've seen just every cheesy, poorly produced, poorly made, and this Chosen, the guy who plays, so he plays the priest Nicodemus, and this guy has been in a lot of, he was in, I remember him in Stargate, he was in, what's some of the other shows, he was in The Mummy, he was one of the priests in The Mummy, the guy with the goatee, I can't think of the actor's name right now, but he's really good, and he's in it.
Yeah.
But
It's not Ben, you're not. It's not Ben Kingsley, is it?
no. I can't think of his name right now, but so that's going to be my go-to. We tried to watch and my guilty pleasure show is National Treasure, and so Disney started streaming this National Treasure.
How is that? Is it good?
It's it's all right.
There's no Nick Cage. So
no, there's no Nicolas Cage.
Can't replace Nick Cage.
It had the guy who, I can't remember. I can't think of the actor.
It has his partner in it, though, right? Like the
no,
guy that he.
No, it was the FBI guy, that Agent Sadusky, and he was in the first episode, and so, but I'm trying to work through that. I'm trying to work through the Andor, the Star Wars Andor thing, and I'm trying to work my way through that. So I've got a lot of streaming options that looking at, but anyway. So
no, that actually had me thinking about one thing. And have either of you guys seen the new Avatar yet? Is that on either of you guys'
Janine,
radar?
Avatar to me. What was your thoughts of the Avatar? Was the first Avatar was so well as far as cinematography? I thought it was very well done. It was,
everything that I've heard about it is that it is insane. It is apparently it is one of the best sequels ever made. I've heard that visually, like if you were mind blown from the first one, this second one will literally melt your brain because it apparently is ungodly, like how good this stuff looks. And again, I haven't seen it, but everything out here, everything that I've heard about it has been good. Like the story, from my understanding, is kind of like the first one, where it's like story did its part of being like just okay, like not a inherently bad story, but kind of like predictable in that sense. But it's also like you're not necessarily going into it for this great story. You're kind of going into it to see the special effects and all that stuff. But it's funny because right now, as we creep into next year, out here, because so many Academy voters live out here, all of our billboards right now in the neighborhood are for your consideration billboards. So it's a lot of different actors and different movies and the people that are pitching what they're trying to get them Academy Awards for. So right now there's a couple Stranger Thing ones back up for like Sadie Sink. They're really trying to push her to get nominated. A couple of these other big flicks. I've seen a couple. Brendan Fraser's for A24 is really pushing hard for The Whale.
The Whale, and I've seen. I need to watch this show because the stuff I've seen from it have just. Brendan Fraser to me has been one of those guys. He's one of the. I don't know about you, Sean, but I consider him to be one of the blue collar actors in Hollywood who has, he's paid his dues. He's had some rough breaks along the way.
I wouldn't even call it rough. He was quite literally the gap that he had in between was because I'm very thankful, but from some of the things that I've read and he's started to kind of talk about now, it's almost one of those things where it's like we're lucky that he's still alive kind of thing because of some of the shit that had happened to him and the depressive state that it left him in for such a long time. I had a really good conversation whenever I was in Guantanamo Bay, hearing Matthew Lillard speak. It kind of reminded me a lot of like what Brendan Fraser has kind of come out and said, although Brendan Fraser went through a lot more trauma, but Matthew Lillard painted a really good picture for me of kind of what Hollywood is for a lot of like people when they come up into acting, which is why we kind of hear a lot about like people that did like a whole bunch and then they did absolutely nothing for a long time. So Matthew Lillard talked about how he thought that he had cemented his legacy and that he was going to have a very illustrious career in Hollywood. Because if you think about it, you look at like the early 2000s and late 90s, Matthew Lillard, for those who don't know who Matthew Lillard is, his two most recognizable roles are probably Shaggy from the live action Scooby-Doo 1 and Scooby-Doo 2. And then in Scream. Scream was another pretty prolific film that he was in. Okay. But he had talked about it from like, I want to say like probably like 97, from 1997 to 2002. So about 5 years in a row, he was probably in one or two big blockbuster films a year, like big pictures. And he had talked about how he was like, I had made it. I bought this big house in Malibu and was living life and was doing all this stuff. And then he's like, and then I didn't get a booking for 3 years, and it was over as fast as it was there. It was like a flash in the pan. And he kind of talked about like, you know, how he was like, because Freddie Prinze Jr. and him were really good friends, and they, no joke, were in like 5 films together, like 4 or 5 films where Matthew Lillard was like the lovable, goofy friend to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s Prince Charming kind of thing. And he talked about how it was fun and like the money was good. He was getting booked, but it also killed his career because by the time they were kind of older, then like, all right, we don't need a young 30s lovable, goofy friend. Like that's not what's selling pictures. And so he actually talked about how doing Scooby-Doo saved his career 10 years later, because then he became the voice of Shaggy. So after Casey retired, the original voice of Shaggy, it went to Matthew Lillard, and he's like, I never would have thought that animated Scooby-Doo would pay my bills, but that's how I live. And so that's the one interesting thing I see out here. There's like, you know, other people that I have a buddy that I've worked out with a couple of times, and there's a guy at his gym that is like, you know, a working actor who's done a bunch of Hallmark movies. And it's just kind of funny to kind of see them going through some of the same struggles. Cause, you know, back home, when you think Hollywood and stuff like that, if you do it acting, like you made it, like that's it. Like you've got it, but it's a grind and it's a hustle out here that, until you kind of really like see it, it's pretty crazy. I've got a buddy that's a regular occurring actor on Young Rock now, and as Dusty Rhodes. But it's funny because he's just like a normal dude, and his job as an actor is he's probably doing 5 or 6 auditions a day for his agent, but it's funny, like I learned this, and sorry to go on a tangent, but it's just so interesting to me. So Winning Time, for example, it's a show I'm super familiar with now that I've fucking done the thing like 6 times. The guy that plays Kareem Abdul-Jabbar never acted a day in his life, never did anything in acting. He was a professor at Stanford, I think. Really? He graduated from 90s. And played basketball, played for the Harlem Globetrotters for a smidge. But yeah, never wanted to pursue acting. He was a professor. He's a doctor. But then they put out a casting call, and he had just people that were like, dude, you look like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You should audition for this. And he got the part. And it kind of just wrote itself. And the actor that plays Magic Johnson had something along the lines of like he had auditioned for between like 200 to 300 different TV shows and movies and projects with his agent that he had. They all went nowhere, and he was actually getting ready to join the army so that he could pay his bills, was to join the military and then pursue acting on the side. But he had one more audition. I guess audition 301 was for Magic Johnson for Winning Time, and you know, his contract probably sits at $500,000 a season, and so hopefully it, you know, matriculates and turns into more and more work. But it's that kind of stuff is really interesting to me on how the film industry works. Like,
Well, that's,
you know, you don't do a movie
can I
that it's different.
can I ask you a question about this, Sean? Do you we is there such a thing anymore? Because I see two terms that I use, and this is my own personal terminology. What I call the flash in the pan actors, the 15 minutes of fame actors versus, you know, your great actors. Like, when I think of great classic actors, I think of, you know, Sean Connery, I think of Jim Carrey, I think of Steve Carell, and then I think of the flash in the pan actors. I mean, and this would probably offend some people. I look like a Jonah Hill. Trying to think of who else I could, you know, the guys who do, like, you know, the guys who are in The Hangover, and, you know, you have these flash in the pan guys who get kind of stuck in it. I mean, what is there a trend now moving to, you've got to be hot, young, and fresh, or are there actors anymore? Because, I mean, like, you know, Henry Cavill or Cavill, whatever, I heard got fired from Superman or whatever, and I mean, is it just how young you can look, or and how fresh you are, or what? I mean, what do you see happening in Hollywood as far as that goes?
Um, so, you know, I think so much of it, in any business, this one especially, is kind of the who you know. When we look at young actors, right, like the kids that get real famous. So I'm gonna use Timothy Chalamet as an example, right? He's kind of like one of the big name. He was in Dune. He was the main character of the Dune movie, and then because of that, like a bunch of other stuff. A lot of these younger actors, believe it or not, it's pretty believable, in my opinion. Their parents are casting directors. Their parents are agents. So Euphoria, right? That show. I was actually, Tony and I were just talking about this. There's a character on there. There's an actress. Her name's Sydney Sweeney. She's kind of like the big standout of season 2. Almost all of those actors, the young actors and actresses on that show, their parents are casting directors or agents that kind of are like, hey, because I you know, we'll get you on. That's not saying they don't have talent. I'm not saying that at all. I think a lot of them are very good. I think so much of it is, though, their foot got in the door that way, kind of thing. But Sydney Sweeney, I have a ton of respect for, because she did not have that. She came from not from Los Angeles directly, and, you know, did probably some smaller things out wherever she was. Probably had like a local agent, and they quite literally told, you know, her family, like, your daughter has the look, she has the ability. You've got to get her to Los Angeles because she will do well. And then booked Euphoria, and is now just booked a Sony movie, a Spider-Girl movie, and probably much more. I mean, she's very talented. It's kind of weird. I just read a really good article in Men's Health, one of my favorite magazines, about Jonathan Majors. So Jonathan Majors, if you've seen, he's going to be in Creed 3 as the main villain in Creed 3. Yes. He has been in a handful of other films that might not be so well known, but he's going to be the next big bad in Marvel, Kang the Conqueror. So in the end of Loki, you kind of are introduced to him. Mm-hmm. He is 40, and
really,
he is just now coming upon his big break. He didn't really get into acting until he was about my age, which for guys like me makes me feel a lot better and hopeful that there's, you know, a chance. To answer your question, I think that some folks, it's all about how you manage it. So like, I think Jonah Hill has actually done very well, but again, his parents were casting directors.
Yeah.
So he started young. His parents were casting directors, and then he kind of evolved and started doing more dramatic stuff, getting the Academy Award nods and stuff like that. I think, there's a lot of that. You have to be diverse. So I've gotten to watch Adrian Brody do his thing on Winning Time.
Yeah.
Adrian Brody won the Academy Award for Best Actor in his late 20s, so he was the youngest to ever win it. But then for The Pianist, which is a great movie, if you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. It's an incredible movie. But then, he might not have necessarily had these giant breakout roles since then, but he's worked and he stayed busy. And I think part of that was because he wasn't afraid to like say no, not necessarily to like total crapshoot jobs, but he did he did a character in M. Night Shyamalan's The Village that was a disabled person, and like a like very caricature of what a disabled person is. And like now, like you might not see an able-bodied person play that kind of character because of just where we are in society. But he took those kind of risks. Jason Clarke, who is one of the Bondurant boys in Lawless, he also kind of got his start late in acting, like in his late 20s is where like they kind of. So to answer your question, it's a little bit of yes and a little bit of no. If you can start young, and like Tom Holland, for example, people forget, like people really kind of know him as Spider-Man, obviously, but that wasn't the first time he made headlines. He made really big headlines. I remember because he was cast as Billy Elliot on a European Broadway tour, like European musical tour, and in Broadway in New York when he was a kid. So, and look where he has evolved to. So, I think like if you have the ability and you take it seriously, and again, I think you have to have a damn good agent. I think you have to have a damn good casting manager, or a casting agency that you work with, because like straight up, they'll tell you like, you might have the talent, and you might have a director straight up say like, you're the guy that I want for the job. You're the gal that I want for the job. Like, I want to hire you. And you're like, oh my gosh, you have this excitement. But then, for this big project, whatever it is, let's say it's a pilot for a TV show. Well, then you might have the casting director or an agency come in and say, hey, here's the deal. I know you guys are the ones that are putting this Netflix film together, and I know that you guys really want Will Smith for this film. Well, I'm not going to let you have Will Smith for this film if you don't put, I've got this actor that I want in this role. So then you might basically have the job, but then if Warner Brothers wants to use another actor, they might have to do a favor and cast someone else in the role so that they can, make some of those kind of barter deals. So
it is basically one of those, it's not who you know, it's who you blow kind of thing. And it's definitely,
I think for some it can feel like that. Like it's definitely, that good old boy and girl business where, there's a lot of handshakes that are done. There's obviously some people that like they're above that. Like obviously like Leonardo, he's one of one. Leo picks what he does, and he's picked what he's done since he was 18 years old.
Yeah, and to me, he's one of those actors who has, to me, he's one of those that stand out to me as he's in that. And for me, I mean, he's not one of my favorite actors. But he is one of those guys who has set the bars like, hey, I want to do a Wolf of Wall Street, or, and then he does his Titanic, and then he'll do his lower budget films, and then he'll get critical acclaim for that. And to me, DiCaprio is a genius when how he's marketed himself, and he's not typecast into all these roles and everything. I can't believe one of the one of the films that I saw this year that I was pleasantly surprised, and I sat down and I streamed it the other day, was Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick. And you know, I looked at that film and I watched that film, and it's one of those I've watched. Of course, I grew up. You know, Top Gun was when I was in middle school. That's how old that movie is. And Tom Cruise came back and nailed. I mean, 60 years, and the man is 60 years old. Tom Cruise.
Have you guys seen that video he just put out to advertise Mission Impossible?
No.
No.
I'll send it to you both. It's a 10-minute video. He does a base jump off of a cliff, riding a motorcycle into a free falling skydive for this movie. Did over like 600 jumps out of an airplane. Like basically became a pro BMX dirt bike rider. Spent the whole last year training. Probably spent, I don't want to know how many millions of dollars to get this 1 minute scene in this movie done, but a madman. Literally, it's an incredible video to watch because he literally did the stunt like 6 times, and it's insane.
And he did what killed. And I did not know this about him, but when I watched him, he did an interview. Well, he did a segment on James Corden show when he was promoting that, and I didn't know that he was actually a licensed pilot to fly jet airplanes. I was just like, that's incredible. So, anyway, we've rambled a lot about acting, and sorry, Travis, to make you. I think Travis, we're putting him to sleep over there. I don't know, but
No, I'm still here.
oh, but man, one other thing we want to mention before we cut out tonight. We didn't. I do want to mention tonight's poll question. That we didn't get to talk too much about Christmas tonight, but tonight's poll question. You know, what is your most memorable part of Christmas, or what's your favorite part of Christmas? And tonight we had a large percentage, and I'll tell you what, guys, our last few polls have been very well received and very well voted upon. And out of all of the choices, we had people voted most for family. At what was that? 50% voted for family, 48% voted for. I'm sorry, 38% voted for giving. We had 3% who voted for helping others. Strangely enough, 3% also voted for Christmas music. I can't handle hearing any more Mariah Carey already, but no, we do. You know, we thank people for supporting us on that. But you know what? We're at that time of the year now. You know, I did something, and I don't want to. We did something great at our school today. Our school took part in what was called Giving Back, which is a first for Clopton. It's a kind of a new trend that's kind of happening in schools across America, where that last day of Christmas, before Christmas break, they go out. And I was very proud of our school today. We had kids going out caroling in nursing homes. We had our band. Our band actually went and played at a couple of businesses. Just popped in and just did a, what do you call that, flash mob band. Just showed up and just started playing, and was cool. Very well received. And we went caroling to a bunch of the retirees of our school and everything. And I'm just super proud. And if you can find, not to do something to blast your own horn or anything like that, but to go out and find a way. We're living in these strange times now, but I mean, if you can find a way to give back, give to your community, even if it's just something like taking a plate of cookies across the street to your neighbors and saying, "Hey, Merry Christmas, here you go." Just anything like that, something cool like that. But I just wanted to share that before we cut out this evening. So
that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool thing. I wish, cool to see the small towns and small communities doing that.
No, agreed. Yeah. Well, gentlemen, as always, thanks again for having me back.
Yay! It's good having you back, pal.
These last couple of weeks. So, but it's been special. out here. I do hope that the both of you and your families have a very wonderful Christmas. I hope you guys have a lot of fun. I hope the kiddos have a good day, and I hope Santa Paws comes and visits your pup Travis and
Santa Paws.
gives him the spoils. And
You will.
but no, and again to all of our listeners, thank you guys so much. It's been wonderful. We're gonna talk and kind of see what our schedule looks like next week to kind of see if we do a wrap up episode to kind of cap off year and roll into 23 with kind of some of our New Year's resolutions and what our plans and goals are. Just kind of map some of those out for our listeners. Again, I hope all of you guys have a very wonderful holiday. One thing I do kind of want to add just before we go, the holidays, again, as we hear about it every year, can kind of be a bit of a troubling time for some people. But again, we just want you guys to know that during the holiday season and after the holiday season, if you're a listener of our show, or if you know someone out there that it's the holiday season is rough for, again, we don't have much, but we have eyes and ears, and please just, if you're going through something or someone you know is going through something, either let us know, let a friend know, let someone know that can get that person to kind of help during the holiday season, because it can be troubling for some. But again, if you are with your family, and enjoy the time you guys spend together, love each other, be a friend, tell a friend about the show. But again, I hope all of you guys have a very Merry Christmas. I hope you guys get to eat plenty of milk and cookies, as I know that Santa will be doing at this house. Julian is about to be surprised at how many cookies that Santa is about to eat at our place. So I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever the hell you guys celebrate. I'm missing probably a bunch, but no, seriously, I hope you guys have a great Yuletide spring, my friends.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Talk to you soon.